trainer now wants to get into the realm of motivational speaking. Not only he is a motivational speaker for himself, but he also does it for God and for everyone that's under the sound of his voice. And as he takes the stage, his electricity will bring some life to the room and inspiration and impact that you know you're going to need. The next speaker, his speech under the pathway of motivational speech level 3, inspiring the audience. Let's give a hand for Robert R.J. Pervisky III.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster of the evening, fellow Toastmasters, and welcome honored guests. Recently, Lindsey and I had a bit of a health scare. A health scare so bad that it put Lindsey in the hospital for almost a week. Unbeknownst to us, while Lindsey was traveling to Florida for Thanksgiving, she ended up catching a virus. And what was that virus? It was the swine flu. The swine flu, of all things. You guys remember that mini pandemic that we had back in 2009? Yeah, that swine flu. So needless to say, it hit us both pretty hard. It was a very big test for us physically, mentally, and even spiritually. But for me, how I was going to approach those 5.5 days that we were in the hospital, there were 4 principles that I always stick by that I want to share with all of you, and I encourage you to incorporate in your everyday life. So here are the 4 things, the 4 principles that I always stand by, the type of people they represent, how I personally have applied it, especially in our visit to Mercy Hospital, and how you can apply it to your everyday life to make an impact. With that, let's dive right in. The first is heart, representing the king. Now in the Bible, there are many different characteristics of a king, but one thing that really stands out about a king is that they provide and they protect their families and their kingdom. When I think of the situation with Lindsey and I, she was at a point where she felt really stressed out. The fact that she had already traveled over Thanksgiving, to see her dad and be with family and everything like that, and the fact that she's going to be out of work even longer due to being in the hospital, naturally, she was stressing out. She was stressing out finances, what she was going to do, and I was like, babe, just take a deep breath. We're going to figure this out. And if anything else, I will cover everything. If you want to change the world, you have to always make it a point to be a leader and to provide and protect your family and anything that life throws at you. But in order to do that, you have to have what? Heart. The second is soul, representing the lover. Many characteristics of a lover include being vulnerable, being supportive, being that shoulder to cry on, just simply being present at that moment. While we were in the hospital provided Lindsey with many things that she needed, like hospital gown, disposable underwear, shampoo, body wash, all the fun stuff. Little TMI, but nonetheless, she had everything that she needed. But when she was getting ready to take a shower, she was just feeling at a point where she just didn't feel beautiful. She felt sick, she was in pain, she was puking her guts out, she was basically coughing up a lung. But as she was getting ready to get into the shower, I told her, babe, the hospital forgot something. Here's your crown. And she was so flattered by that. She felt so loved. And if you want to change the world, men, for your women, you must treat them like a queen. And ladies, for your men, you treat them like a king. Even when they're in a hospital gown, in disposable underwear, and they're puking their guts out and they have an IV stuck on their veins. The third principle is mind, representing the Magi. In the Gospel according to Matthew, the Holy Bible refers to Magi as the wise men. These were the three men that would search for a newborn king by looking at the eastern star outside of Bethlehem. And that newborn king was none other than Jesus Christ. Now, when I think of the word wise or wisdom, I think of my core people, my core friends. Each of them has a specific attribute. They have a different characteristic that represents me. Each of these men and women in my life always encouraged me to be the man that I was called to be. And if there was a point where I felt like I was going off track to the path of kindness or purity, they will have no problem calling me out on it, but they will also encourage me to turn right back to the path and to keep pushing me to be a better person every single day. If you want to change the world, you must always be what? Mindful of the people you surround yourself with. Because when you do that, you will be encouraged to be the best that you can be. And you will be able to inspire many more people to do just the same. And number 4 is strength, representing the warrior. There are many different characteristics that the Bible refers to when it comes to the warrior, but some key things that stand out to me are their love for justice, righteousness, and truth. They always depend on fellowship with their fellow believers. But one thing that really stands out to me is their prayer life. See, every night Lindsey and I will make it a point to pray together. And God has been the center of our relationship since day one. But one thing that really helped us, especially when we were in the hospital, we just felt so drained. We had a chaplain that came in and just gave us some words of encouragement and prayed with us. If you want to change the world, and keep in mind, you do not have to be a follower of Christ to do that. If you have faith, keep in mind that faith means strong trust in someone or something. If you do that, you'll be able to push through when times get tough. Now, with all that being said, everything that I mentioned is from a biblical standpoint, but here's the crazy part about this, fellow Toastmasters and honored guests. You can still follow the same principles, because guess what? You have the heart of a king. You have the soul of a lover. You have the mind of a magi. And you have the strength of a warrior to make an impact. Heart, soul, mind, strength. Let's go change the world. Mr. Toastmaster of the evening.
Awesome. All right. So